I stared at the text message for the third time, my coffee going cold in my hand. The words hadn't changed. Dad, I need you to understand something. Mom's gone now. You're alone in that big house. It's time to be realistic about your role in our family. My name is Richard Hayes. I'm 63 years old, and this is the story of how my daughter tried to turn me into a live-in servant and how I taught her that loneliness doesn't mean desperation. My wife Catherine died 18 months ago. Pancreatic cancer. 6 weeks from diagnosis to funeral. The house in Portland still smells like her lavender soap sometimes, though I know that's probably just my imagination playing tricks. We'd lived here for 32 years, raised our daughter Jennifer in this house, hosted every Christmas, every birthday, every milestone. Jennifer is 34 now, corporate attorney, married to Derek, a software engineer at one of those startups that's always 6 months from either going public or going under. They have a daughter, Emma, who just turned 7. Sweet kid, looks just like Catherine did at that age. The text had come through at 7:15 on a Tuesday morning. I was sitting in the kitchen, same spot where Catherine and I used to have breakfast, reading the newspaper like I'd done for 3 decades. But this morning, instead of Catherine asking me about the crossword, I got this message from Jennifer. I set my phone down and walked to my study. The room Catherine had always called my cave. Dark wood shelves, leather chair, the old roll-top desk her father had given us as a wedding present. I opened the bottom drawer and pulled out the manila folder I'd been hoping I'd never need. Inside were documents my attorney, Bill Morrison, had prepared 6 months ago. Not because I was paranoid, because I was prepared. Let me back up. 3 months after Catherine died, Jennifer started making suggestions. Dad, have you thought about downsizing? This house is too big for one person. Then it was, Dad, you should really consider moving closer to us. What if something happens? Then, Dad, Derek and I have been talking. With Emma in school now, childcare costs are insane. You're retired. You have so much free time. Free time. As if grief operated on a schedule. I'd taught high school English for 37 years. Retired at 60. Planning to travel with Catherine. To finally read all those books we'd collected. To visit our son Michael in Colorado more often. Michael, 36. A park ranger, married to a wonderful woman named Sarah. They had twin boys, 5 years old. They never asked me for anything except the occasional FaceTime with Grandpa. But Jennifer had always been different. Not in a bad way, not when she was young. She was driven, ambitious, smart as a whip, valedictorian, full ride to Stanford, law degree from Columbia. We were so proud. Somewhere along the way, though, ambition had curdled into entitlement. Or maybe I'd just never noticed it before because Catherine had been the buffer, the mediator, the one who could say no without it becoming a federal case. The text I'd received this morning was just the latest escalation. I scrolled up to read the full conversation from the past week. Jennifer. Dad, we need to talk about your living situation. Me. My living situation is fine, sweetheart. I'm doing okay. Jennifer. You say that, but you're alone all day. It's not healthy. Derek and I have a proposal. Me. I'm listening. Jennifer. Move in with us. We have that guest suite over the garage. You'd have your own space, but you'd be around family. And honestly, it would help us tremendously. Emma needs more stability. She needs her grandfather. Me. That's very thoughtful. But I'm not ready to leave the house yet. Your mother and I. Jennifer. Mom's gone, Dad. I know that's hard, but you can't live in the past. This house is full of memories, and maybe that's not healthy for you right now. Fresh start. New chapter. And you'd be helping us. Emma adores you. You could pick her up from school, help with homework, maybe cook dinner a few nights a week. You always said you wanted to spend more time with your grandkids. There it was, buried in the sentiment, the real ask. Not a grandfather visiting occasionally, a full-time nanny, a cook, a chauffeur. Me. Jennifer, I appreciate the offer, but I think I need more time in my own space. Jennifer. Time for what, Dad? To sit alone in that house? To feel sorry for yourself? Mom wouldn't want that. That one had stung. Using Catherine against me. Me. Your mother would want me to make my own choices about my own life. Jennifer. Fine. Stay isolated then. But don't expect us to drop everything when you finally realize how lonely you are. We have our own lives, our own family. Emma is our priority, not running across town every week to check on you. And then this morning's text. Dad, I need you to understand something. Mom's gone now. You're alone in that big house. It's time to be realistic about your role in our family. I called Bill Morrison. Richard, he answered on the second ring. How are you holding up? I need to activate the plan we discussed. There was a pause. Are you sure? This is pretty nuclear. I'm sure. Can you be at my house this afternoon? Say, 2 o'clock? I'll be there. I spent the morning doing what I'd done every morning since Catherine died. I made breakfast. I read the paper. I took a walk around the neighborhood. I came home and worked in the garden, pulling weeds from Catherine's rose bushes. Normal. Routine. The scaffolding that kept me upright. At 1:30, I showered and changed into slacks and a button-down shirt. Bill arrived at 2 on the dot, carrying his briefcase. You know, he said, settling into the living room, when we drew these up, I thought we were being overly cautious. So did I said. Coffee? Please. I poured 2 cups, sat down across from him. Bill Morrison had been our family attorney for 20 years. He'd handled our wills, our estate planning, Catherine's medical directives. He knew our family dynamics better than most therapists. Walk me through it again, I said. Bill opened his briefcase, pulled out several documents. Okay. First, your assets. The house is paid off, valued at approximately $850,000. You have your pension, Social Security, and the life insurance payout from Catherine's death, which you wisely invested. Total liquid assets, approximately $1.2 million. You're comfortable, very comfortable. I nodded. Catherine and I had been careful. We'd lived below our means, invested wisely, never carried debt except the mortgage, which we'd paid off 5 years early. Now, Bill continued, when we set up your estate plan after Catherine's diagnosis, you had me create 2 versions. Version A, standard distribution. Everything split between Jennifer and Michael, with trusts for the grandchildren. Version B, the nuclear option. Tell me about version B. Version B establishes an irrevocable trust for Michael and his family with specific provisions for the twins' education and welfare. It establishes a similar trust for Emma, your granddaughter, accessible only for educational and medical expenses until she turns 25. The house goes into a life estate, meaning you retain full control and use until your death, at which point it transfers directly to Michael or, if he predeceases you, to a charitable foundation. Jennifer gets a one-time distribution of $50,000, with a clause stating that this constitutes her full and final inheritance, and that any contest of the will results in complete disinheritance. And the activation? You sign here, here, and here. I file it with the court. It becomes active immediately. There's no going back once it's filed. I picked up the pen. One question. In your professional opinion, am I being unreasonable? Bill sat back. You want my professional opinion or my personal one? Personal. My daughter lives in Seattle. She calls me every Sunday, just to talk. She's never asked me for money, never suggested I uproot my life to serve hers. When her mother died, she took 2 weeks off work and flew down to help me sort through her things. She didn't suggest I sell the house or move in with her. She asked what I needed. That's the difference, Richard. Your daughter sees you as a resource. Mine sees me as a person. I signed all 3 documents. Bill witnessed them, packed everything back into his briefcase. I'll file these tomorrow morning. What's your next move? I'm going to wait. For what? For her to make the next mistake. I didn't have to wait long. That evening, around 6, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Jennifer and Derek standing on my porch. Emma was in the car, visible through the windshield, watching something on a tablet. Dad, Jennifer said, not quite meeting my eyes. Can we come in? Of course. They followed me into the living room. The same living room where we'd celebrated every Christmas, where Catherine had read Jennifer bedtime stories, where we'd taken prom photos and graduation pictures. Derek sat uncomfortably on the edge of the couch. Jennifer remained standing, pacing slightly. I got your text this morning, I said calmly. Yeah, Jennifer said. Look, Dad, I know it came across harsh, but we need to have a real conversation about this. About your future. About what makes sense. I'm listening. Derek's company is going through a rough patch. They're doing layoffs next month. We don't know if he'll survive the cut. Legal associates don't make what you think they make, especially with student loans. We're barely breaking even, and childcare is killing us. Before school care, after school care, summer camps. We're spending almost $2,000 a month just so we can both work. That sounds stressful, I said. It is. And you're sitting here in this huge house, alone, with nothing to do all day? It's a perfect solution. You move in with us, we convert the garage suite, you help with Emma, we save $2,000 a month, you're not lonely. Emma gets her grandfather. Everybody wins. What about what I want? Jennifer's expression hardened. What you want? Dad, you're retired. You have no obligations, no schedule, nothing keeping you here except stubbornness and sentiment. Your mother is buried 20 minutes from here. I visit her grave every Wednesday. You can still visit. We're only 45 minutes away. Your mother and I built this house into a home. Every room has a memory. The garden she planted, the kitchen where we cooked together, the bedroom where my voice caught. Derek cleared his throat. Mr. Hayes, I think what Jennifer is trying to say is that those memories might be painful. Maybe a fresh start would be healthy. And convenient? I said quietly. What? Convenient. For you both. You need childcare. I need purpose. Everybody wins, as Jennifer said. Except I don't recall anyone asking what would make me happy. Jennifer's face flushed. That's not fair. We're trying to help you. By telling me I'm alone, isolated, living in the past, and wasting my time. That's help? By offering you a place in our family. I have a place in your family. I'm your father. I'm Emma's grandfather. That doesn't require me to be your employee. Employee? Dad, that's, what would you call it? You need childcare. You need cooking. You need someone to manage your household logistics. If I hired someone to do those things, I'd call them an employee. You're asking me to do it for free, and calling it family. Derek stood up. I think we should go. No, Jennifer said. Dad, I'm going to be very clear with you. We're offering you a lifeline here. A chance to be part of something, to be useful, to not die alone in this house surrounded by ghosts. If you turn this down, don't expect us to keep making the effort. We have our own lives, our own family. Emma is our priority, not your feelings. The room went very quiet. I see, I said. Do you? Because I don't think you understand how insulting this is. We're trying to include you, and you're acting like we're asking you to sacrifice something. You're sacrificing nothing. You have nothing. I stood up slowly. I think you should leave now. Fine. But when you're sick and old and really alone, don't come crying to us. You made your choice. They left. Through the window, I watched Jennifer buckle Emma into her car seat. The little girl waved at me. I waved back. The car pulled away. I sat in the silence of my living room, in the house Catherine and I had built together, and I didn't feel alone. I felt clear. The next morning, I called Michael. Dad. His voice was warm, surprised. Everything okay? Everything's fine. I wanted to ask you something. How would you and Sarah feel about some visitors? I was thinking of driving out to Colorado for a few weeks. See the twins. Do some hiking. Get out of Portland for a while. Are you kidding? Dad, we'd love that. The boys ask about you constantly. When were you thinking? How about next week? Perfect. I'll set up the guest room. I spent the next several days preparing. I asked my neighbor, Tom, to watch the house. I arranged for the lawn service to continue. I packed a suitcase. I felt lighter than I had in months. On Tuesday, 5 days after Jennifer's visit, my phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Hayes, this is Meredith Caldwell from Lincoln Elementary. I'm calling about Emma Hayes. You're listed as an emergency contact. My heart seized. Is she okay? She's fine. There's been a situation. Emma's parents were both supposed to pick her up today. Neither showed up. We've been calling for 45 minutes. This is the third time this month. I need someone to collect her. I'll be right there. I broke several speed limits getting to the school. Emma was sitting in the office, looking small and worried. When she saw me, her face lit up. "Grandpa." I knelt down, hugged her. "Hey, sweetheart, you okay?" Mom said she was coming. She always forgets. The school administrator handed me a clipboard. "Mr. Hayes, I need to speak with you frankly. This is becoming a pattern. Emma has been picked up late or forgotten 12 times this semester. We're concerned about parental neglect. If this continues, we're required to file a report with Child Services." 12 times. My hands shook as I signed Emma out. In the car, Emma chattered about her day, seemingly unbothered. We made volcanoes in science. Mine exploded the biggest. And Sophia invited me to her birthday party, but Mom says birthday parties are too expensive now. Does Mom forget to pick you up a lot? Sometimes. Usually she's just late. Miss Caldwell lets me read in the office. But today she didn't answer her phone at all. Dad didn't either. I pulled into a drive-thru, got Emma a kid's meal. While she ate chicken nuggets, I called Jennifer. Straight to voicemail. Derek's too. I drove to their house. Both cars were in the driveway. I knocked. No answer. "They're home," Emma said. "They're always home. They just fight a lot and don't hear the door." I used the key they'd given me years ago. Let myself in. "Jennifer? Derek?" I found them in the kitchen. Jennifer was crying. Derek was packing boxes. The counter was covered in bills, all stamped red. "Final notice." They both looked up when I walked in. "Dad," Jennifer said, wiping her eyes. "What are you?" The school called. Nobody picked up Emma. For the 3rd time this month. "What's going on?" Derek laughed bitterly. "What's going on? We're drowning. I got laid off 3 weeks ago. Jennifer's firm just cut her salary by 20%. We're 2 months behind on the mortgage. The bank is foreclosing. We're going to lose the house." "And you didn't think to tell me?" "Tell you what, Dad? That we need money? After you made it very clear that you're not interested in helping us? That you'd rather sit alone in your house than be part of our lives?" "That's not what I said." "It's what you meant." Emma appeared in the doorway, holding her backpack. "Are we moving again?" Jennifer's face crumpled. "Sweetie, go watch TV. Grandpa and I need to talk." Emma left. I waited until I heard the television in the other room. "Again?" I said quietly. "How many times have you moved?" Jennifer wouldn't meet my eyes. 4 times in 5 years. We keep chasing lower rent. Derek keeps losing jobs. The legal market is brutal. I'm working 70 hours a week just to stay employed. We're barely keeping our heads above water. And your solution was to draft me as free labor instead of asking for help. Because I knew you'd say no. You made it clear that your house and your memories and your grief are more important than us. "No," I said. "I made it clear that I won't be manipulated. There's a difference." Derek threw a box down. "This is pointless. Richard, either help us or leave. We don't have time for lectures." I looked at them both. At the bills on the counter. At the boxes half packed. At the desperation in their eyes. "I need you both to sit down." They sat. 3 questions, I said. "Answer honestly. First, if I gave you money right now, would it actually solve your problems?" Silence. "Second, when's the last time you asked me how I was doing? Not about moving in with you. Not about babysitting. About me. About how I'm handling your mother's death. About whether I'm okay." More silence. "Third, if Emma wasn't in the picture, would you care about me at all?" Jennifer started crying again. "That's not fair. Answer the question." "I don't know," she whispered. "I don't know, Dad. Everything is so hard. All the time. I can't breathe. I can't think. I just need help, and you're the only one who can afford it, and you won't, and I don't understand why you hate us so much." "I don't hate you. I hate being treated like an ATM with a pulse." Derek stood up. "We should go. Jen, pack Emma's things. We're staying at my brother's tonight." "Wait," I said. "Sit down, both of you." They sat. I pulled out my phone, called Bill Morrison. "Bill, I need you to draw up some documents. Emergency funding trust for my granddaughter Emma. Immediate release of funds for educational expenses, housing security, and childcare. Trustees, myself and my son Michael. Beneficiary, Emma, exclusively. Parents receive nothing directly. Can you have it ready by tomorrow?" Consider it done. I hung up. Jennifer and Derek stared at me. Here's what's going to happen, I said. I'm setting up a trust for Emma. It will cover her school expenses, provide stable housing, and ensure she's never forgotten at school again because her parents are too overwhelmed to function. The trust will be managed by myself and Michael. You will have no access to the funds directly. Dad, I'm not finished. Second, you're both going to therapy, individual and couples, non-negotiable. The trust will cover it. Third, you're going to attend financial counseling. You're going to learn to budget, to live within your means, to stop chasing jobs and homes you can't afford. Fourth, Emma is coming to stay with me for the next month while you get your lives sorted out. She'll go to school from my house. I'll make sure she's picked up on time. You can visit her on weekends, if you're sober and stable. You can't just take her. I can. And if you fight me, I'll pursue emergency custody on the grounds of educational neglect and financial instability. The school already has documentation. Do you really want to go to court? Derek's face went pale. Or, I continued, you can accept help. Real help. Not free labor. Not an ATM. But actual support. With conditions designed to help you become better parents and better people. Jennifer was sobbing now. Why are you doing this? Because you're my daughter. Because Emma is my granddaughter. Because your mother would never forgive me if I let you destroy yourselves out of pride or stubbornness. But mostly because I love you too much to enable you. What you were asking me to do, move in, take over your lives, let you stay broken, that's not love. That's cowardice, dressed up as family. The room was silent except for Jennifer's crying. I'll give you both 24 hours to decide. If you accept, we do this my way. Therapy, counseling, Emma stays with me temporarily, trust fund for her security. If you refuse, you're on your own. I'll make sure Emma is safe regardless. But you two will have to figure it out yourselves. Your choice. I stood up. I'm taking Emma home with me tonight. Pack her a bag. She'll need clothes for school, her homework, any medications. Derek went upstairs. Jennifer looked at me, mascara running down her face. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, Dad. I didn't know it had gotten this bad. I didn't know how to ask for help. After Mom died, you seemed so together, so fine, and I was falling apart, and I thought if I could just get you involved, maybe we'd all be okay. You didn't ask me to be involved. You demanded I be available. There's a difference. I know. I know now. Derek came down with a small suitcase. Emma followed him, looking confused. Sweetie, I said, kneeling down, how would you like to have a sleepover at Grandpa's house for a while? Her eyes went wide. Really? Can I see Grandma's garden? My throat tightened. Yes. We'll work in it together. In the car, Emma chattered about which bedroom she wanted, whether I still made pancakes on Saturday mornings, whether we could visit the library. I listened, made appropriate responses, and tried not to think about the mess I was leaving behind. That night, after Emma was asleep in the guest room, Catherine's sewing room, still full of fabric and patterns, I sat in my study and called Michael. Change of plans on that visit, I said. Jennifer's in trouble. I've got Emma for a while. What kind of trouble? I explained. All of it. The demands, the manipulation, the financial collapse, the school calls. Michael was quiet for a long moment. You know, he finally said, this is why Sarah and I never wanted to live beyond our means. We saw what it did to Jen and Derek. Always chasing, never settling. I tried to talk to her about it a few years ago, but she said I didn't understand ambition. She's learning now. You think they'll take the help? I don't know. But Emma needs stability either way. You need anything? Sarah and I can drive out this weekend if you need backup. I'm okay. Check in next week, though. Will do. Dad? Yeah? Mom would be proud of you. Setting boundaries. Not letting Jen manipulate you. She always said the hardest part of parenting was knowing when to say no. After we hung up, I walked upstairs, checked on Emma. She was sprawled across the bed, one arm hanging off the side, mouth slightly open. She looked peaceful, safe. I went to my bedroom, sat on Catherine's side of the bed, still made, still untouched except for when I changed the sheets and I cried for the first time since the funeral. Not for Catherine, not even for Jennifer. For all the ways love gets complicated, for all the ways we hurt each other while claiming to help, for all the ways grief makes us selfish, or desperate, or blind. The next morning, I made pancakes. Emma appeared in the kitchen wearing one of Catherine's old aprons, tied around her waist 3 times. "Grandma showed me how to flip them," she announced, "before she got sick. Can I try?" We made breakfast together, burned 2 pancakes, salvaged the rest, ate them with too much syrup. Normal. Routine. The scaffolding. At 9 a.m., Jennifer called. "We'll do it," she said without preamble. "All of it. The therapy, the counseling, Emma staying with you, whatever you think is best." "You're sure?" "Dad, I forgot to pick up my daughter from school 12 times. I'm not sure about anything anymore except that something has to change. Please help us." "Okay," I said. "I will. But on my terms. On your terms." Over the next 6 weeks, things slowly shifted. Jennifer started seeing a therapist twice a week. Derek started one-on-one sessions and joined a job seekers support group. They attended financial counseling together, learned to track spending, to differentiate needs from wants. Bill Morrison set up the trust, moved money into accounts designated for Emma's education and welfare. Emma thrived. She came home from school to a house where someone was always there, where homework happened at the dining room table, where dinner was at 6 and bedtime was 8:30. She helped me in Catherine's garden, learned the names of roses, got dirt under her fingernails. She asked about her grandmother, and I told her stories. Not sad ones, good ones, funny ones. Stories about a woman who loved hard and laughed hard and never accepted less than the truth from anyone. Jennifer and Derek visited on weekends. At first, the visits were tense, formal, but slowly, they relaxed. We had dinner together, played board games, talked about things that weren't money or problems or demands. One Saturday, about 2 months in, Jennifer arrived early. I was in the garden with Emma, showing her how to deadhead roses. "Dad," Jennifer said, "can we talk?" Emma ran inside to get a snack. Jennifer sat down on the garden bench, the one Catherine and I had picked out 20 years ago. "I've been thinking a lot in therapy," she said, "about Mom, about how after she died, I was so angry, not at cancer, at you." "At me?" "Because you seemed fine. You were handling it, going through her things, planning the memorial, taking care of business. And I was a mess. I couldn't function. I kept thinking, why isn't he falling apart? Why doesn't he need me? I did need you. I needed you to let me grieve in my own way. I know that now. But then, I just felt useless and scared. Mom was always the bridge between us. Dad. She translated you to me, and me to you. Without her, I didn't know how to talk to you. So I fell back on what I knew, making demands, solving problems, trying to fix things. By fixing me, by convincing myself you needed fixing. Because if you needed me, then I was still part of something. I wasn't just alone. I pulled off my gardening gloves. Jennifer, you were never alone. You had Derek, you had Emma, you had Michael, you had me. But I didn't know how to access you. We never learned how to be just us. It was always filtered through Mom. Then, let's learn now. We sat in silence for a while, listening to Emma inside the house, singing along to some cartoon. "The trust fund," Jennifer said. "I hate it, and I'm grateful for it." "Why do you hate it?" "Because it's proof of how badly I failed. I couldn't provide for my own daughter. My father had to step in. Asking for help isn't failure. Demanding it without consideration is. You're learning the difference." She nodded. Derek got a job offer. It's entry level, less money than he was making before, but it's stable. He's going to take it. That's good. We found an apartment in our budget. It's small, 2 bedrooms, but it's ours, and we can afford it without drowning. We're going to downsize, sell stuff we don't need, start over. How does that feel? Scary, freeing, like maybe we can breathe again. Emma came running out with juice boxes. We sat together in the garden, 3 generations, drinking juice in the sunshine. That night, after Jennifer left, I sat in my study and pulled out Catherine's old journal. She'd kept one for years, writing in it sporadically. I'd been too afraid to read it after she died. But tonight, I opened it to a random page. Her handwriting, still so familiar. Richard is teaching Jennifer to ride a bike today. She's terrified but won't admit it. She gets that from both of us. The fear and the stubbornness. I hope someday she learns that it's okay to be scared and ask for help, that they're not mutually exclusive. I hope we teach her that before she has to learn it the hard way. I closed the journal, pressed it against my chest, and felt Catherine's presence like a hand on my shoulder. 3 months after Emma moved in with me, Jennifer and Derek came for dinner with news. They'd signed a lease on the new apartment. They'd both been consistently attending therapy and counseling. They wanted Emma to come home. We sat in the living room, Jennifer, Derek, Emma, and me. "Sweetheart," Jennifer said to Emma, "how would you feel about coming home? We have a new place, your own room, and Grandpa would visit all the time. We'd make sure of it." Emma looked at me, then back at her parents. "Every week?" "Every week," Derek confirmed. "Promise. Can I still help Grandpa with Grandma's roses?" "Absolutely." Emma thought about it, serious as a judge. "Okay, but I want to stay with Grandpa sometimes too, like sleepovers." "We can do that," Jennifer said, tears in her eyes. After dinner, after Emma was in bed, the three of us sat at the kitchen table. "Thank you," Jennifer said, "for not giving up on us, for setting boundaries, for loving us enough to let us fall and then helping us get back up. You're my daughter. What else would I do? A lot of parents would have just written the check. Let us keep making the same mistakes. You made us do the work." Derek reached across the table, shook my hand. "I owe you an apology, Richard. That night I told you to either help or leave. That was out of line. You did help. Just not the way I demanded." "Accepted." A week later, I helped them move into the new apartment. It was small but clean, in a good school district, with a park nearby. Emma's room was tiny, but she loved it, spent the whole day arranging stuffed animals and books. That night, driving home to my house, I felt the weight of the past months lifting. Not gone, just lighter. I pulled into my driveway, let myself into the quiet house. Catherine's house. Our house. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. "Home safe. Emma wants to call you before bed." The call came through a minute later. Emma's face filled the screen, gap-toothed grin. "Grandpa, I have my own shelf for books, and Mom says you can help me plant flowers in pots for the balcony." "Sounds like a plan, sweetheart. I miss you already." "I miss you too. But I'll see you this weekend. Remember? Promise?" "Promise." After we hung up, I walked through the house, room by room. The living room where we'd had those hard conversations. The kitchen where I'd made pancakes with Emma. The garden where Catherine's roses were blooming despite everything. I ended up in the bedroom, sitting on Catherine's side of the bed. "I think I did okay," I said to the empty room. "I think you'd be proud. I didn't give them money to solve their problems. I gave them structure to solve themselves. I didn't let Jennifer manipulate me. But I didn't abandon her either. I held the line, like you always said I should." The room was quiet, but I swear I felt something. A warmth, an approval. I slept that night better than I had in 18 months. The next morning, I called Michael. "How about that Colorado trip? I'm thinking next month. 2 weeks. I want to see those twins and do some hiking." "About time. Sarah's already planning meals. Tell her I'll cook one night. I've been practicing." "Oh no. Dad cooking. Should I warn the fire department?" "Smartass." We laughed. It felt good. A month later, I was in Colorado, hiking with Michael through Rocky Mountain National Park, the twins running ahead on the trail, Sarah taking pictures. "You seem different," Michael said. "Lighter." "I am. I figured some things out." "Like what?" "Like grief doesn't mean I'm broken. Like setting boundaries doesn't mean I don't love people. Like being alone and being lonely are different things. Like your mother's death wasn't the end of my story, just the end of that chapter." We walked in comfortable silence for a while. "You think Jen's really changed?" Michael asked. "I think she's trying. That's enough. And you? You good?" I thought about my house in Portland, waiting for me. About Emma's next sleepover, already scheduled. About Catherine's garden, needing tending. About all the books I wanted to read, the places I wanted to visit, the life I was still living. "Yeah," I said. I'm good. That night, after the twins were in bed, I sat on Michael's porch with him and Sarah, drinking beer and watching stars. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Emma asked me today if it was okay to love you and Mom's memory at the same time. I told her yes. I think I needed that reminder too. Thank you for being patient with me while I learned. Love you, Dad. I texted back. Love you too. See you next week. I looked up at the stars, at the vast Colorado sky, and I thought about Catherine, about how love doesn't end when someone dies. It just transforms, becomes memory, becomes lesson, becomes the voice in your head that tells you when to hold on and when to let go. I'd held on to my boundaries. I'd let go of resentment. I'd done both out of love. And somehow, that was enough. Somewhere in the mountains, an owl called. Michael was telling Sarah a story about the twins. My phone was quiet in my pocket. I took a breath of cold mountain air and felt, for the first time since Catherine died, completely at peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because I'd remembered who I was. A father, a grandfather, a widower still learning to live. A man who knew that loneliness doesn't mean desperation, that love requires boundaries, and that sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same thing. My name is Richard Hayes. I'm 63 years old, and this is the story of how my daughter tried to turn me into a servant, and how I taught us both that family means showing up for each other, but never at the cost of losing yourself. The bank of Dad isn't closed. It just has different hours now, and that makes all the difference.